today. So, welcome to Tuesday night. My name is Ankita Stopper, and I have been a Thermomix owner for almost 17 years, actually more than 17 years. I always equate it to buying a Thermomix when my daughter was 4 months old. I was thinking about weaning and baby-led weaning and feeding a child, had a demonstration, purchased on the spot. And for the next 2 months, I couldn't stop talking about Thermomix, at which point the company called me and said, "You're already selling them to your friends. Would you like to join as an advisor?" Now, as someone on maternity leave, I thought, great, something to do in my spare time. And what actually ended up being a very part-time hobby 17 years later is a very lucrative business opportunity, side hustle, I like to call it, because I still do work. And that 4-month-old turned 17 in October. So that's how long I've had a Thermomix for. Today, we're just going to do a little bit of cooking. So we have the TM7 here, and that's when I can actually take my glasses off because I'm a little bit further away. And what we're actually going to make today is an open cooking recipe, which for anyone who's had a Thermomix before or seen Thermomix demonstrations, most times, most of the other models that we had, actually, you couldn't take the lid off and cook with the lid open. It's a very, very unique function with the TM7. And I thought I'd hop online, do a live, and actually cook my husband and myself dinner. So if you have a Thermomix already and you have the Cookidoo app, it's actually called Marry Me Chicken Pasta, right? So you can have a look and follow, but I will be reading it as well. And the total prep time is 10 minutes. And the total cooking time is 35 minutes. So you will see a full meal in under 45 minutes. And actually, most of it is cooking. I'm really not going to be doing that much. I've obviously done a bit of the prep because you don't need to see me cut a garlic clove or chop some red peppers, but I will read out bit by bit the information that you need. So, nice big 10-inch screen in color. Appreciate that you can't see it that clearly in a video, but I will press start. And the first thing it says is that we are going to weigh 30 grams of Parmesan. So again, what we're trying to showcase is that the Thermomix is a weighing scale. So take the lid off. I actually just have a chunk of Parmesan and I haven't weighed anything. So whilst I've cut things and prepped things, I believe in doing a live demo. And I'm at 40. It's fine. It's going to be a little bit more cheese. Press next. And I put the lid on and it's going to grate 5 seconds, speed 8. So I press a play. Press next. And what you will see, it has finely grated that in 8 seconds. So decant. Put that there. So it does say transfer to a bowl and set aside. And then I'm going to tell you about real cooking, okay? It says rinse and dry the mixing bowl. Do I really care that I have a little bit of Parmesan in there. I've taken most of it. No, that takes time, right? So I'm going to skip that um, and just go on to the next step. Now, if it was because we're cooking with the same ingredients and this is going to be the ultimate dish, I'm absolutely fine with that. So next one says 2 cloves of garlic. So I have my garlic here. 2 cloves. Press there. Then it needs 100 grams of sunflower. Um, sorry, not sunflower, sun-dried tomatoes. So I have actually weighed these straight from a jar, and it should be 100. 98. It's fine. And then it says red capsicum. Now, this is a recipe from Australia, which is why it's calling capsicum instead of red pepper. And it says just in pieces. So I've put 1 red pepper. It needed 180 grams, but my 1 red pepper weighed 160, right? So again, I believe in real cooking. I'm not going to go and grab another red pepper. So if it was there or thereabouts, I'm absolutely fine with that. Press next. It then says half a teaspoon of sea salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, right? Now, for those who know how to cook, you just wing it. But the great thing is, for people who don't know, they can be more precise. And you can also add and the flavorings according to your family needs. Okay, so tick, tick, press next, and it then says saute. So we put the lid on. It's got 4 minutes at 160. And what this is going to do is stir the Thermomix, stir those ingredients. So you've got the pepper, the sun-dried tomato, and the garlic, and in a very, very safe environment for 4 minutes. Now, the reason why I love a Thermomix, and I know, Saab, you said, that you do have children. I have, my kids are now 17 and 13. Actually, just 14. My son's birthday is today. Um, and they have been cooking with the Thermomix since they were 6 years old, right? And the beautiful, beautiful thing for that is it's so safe for children to cook with. Obviously, when they are under 10, I was here because you've got a blade inside the bowl. But over 10, it's really, really quite empowering for them to be cooking safely. But not just children. I have a lot of clients who are now older, and they actually say that a Thermomix has saved them in the amount of pots and pans that they have burnt over the years, because again, this is very, very safe there as well. Now, obviously, in an online demonstration, I'm talking to you in these 4 minutes, but if it was me at home alone, I could be seeing the next steps. So by scrolling up, I can go and see what else I need for my recipe. And again, if it wasn't a demo, I wouldn't have them all nicely there. I would be grabbing them in and around my kitchen. But the fact is, you can go, you can prep, you can look ahead, and then you can go back to your current step. I don't know if you can hear this because now with AI and sound improvement, but can anyone hear the sauteing and the sizzle? No, I can hear it. I can smell it. And it's starting to whet my appetite. just with, those wonderful Mediterranean flavors. Um, and it is a very good recipe. I don't know what the trend was. Was it this year or last year where Marry Me Chicken um, really was a dish that if you made this for a partner, they literally were proposing. That's how good this recipe is. Um, and it's not just a Thermomix recipe, it's also available on other food sites, but Thermomix have obviously taken the recipe and converted it to Cookidoo as well. Okay, so we don't have anyone in the waiting room, which is fine, but I can definitely smell. And you can't actually see any of the sauteing as well because there's a little bit there. But I will open it and show you. So that's really important. Again, when you can't see and smell it, it's quite nice for you to be able to see what the bowl looks like right now. Thank you so much. Birthday greetings. He's at boarding school. So whilst I'm cooking Marry Me Chicken, my husband has ordered pizza for my son. Press next. Okay. So very important when you have just been cooking something, you just tilt the lid so you don't get burnt. And you can see there it has been sauteed. And now it's going to chop. So 5 seconds, speed 5, and we're going to let Lana in. So you can see from what it was to what it is now. That was 5 seconds chop. And it says scrape down. Press next. And now we're going to add 500 grams of chicken. And it even says cut into 2 to 3 centimeter pieces. So in Blue Peter style, I have my chicken. 500. It says 250 of whipping cream. So we're going to weigh this in. And I actually think that's a whole small tub, isn't it? Which is fine. 400 grams of water. So and then it's asking for some herbs. So the herbs that we're asking for is 3/4 teaspoon of paprika. Okay, so this is where you're going to learn Ankita style. Do I really need to put 3/4 through? No, I'm just going to put a whole teaspoon through because I can handle the spice. And so can my husband. 1 teaspoon Italian herbs. So again, and then it asks for 1 tablespoon of vegetable stock. Right. So as a Thermomix owner, we make our own stock. So you can see this. This is about 1 liter of stock, vegetable stock that I keep in my fridge. It's really, really nice that when you're actually making your own stock. There's obviously a cookie dough recipe for Thermomix stock, but my secret is when you're making vegetables, and you're topping and tailing a pepper or a courgette, peeling carrots, all those kind of things that need vegetables. You just put the peelings in a bag, and when you actually have a bag full in the freezer, you then make stock. Often my stock looks purple because there's some reason I always buy red cabbage and only use half. Um, but it's a great way of not wasting any food. And that's why when people tend to buy a Thermomix, they tend to save 25 to 30% on their supermarket shops. And for many people who are home cooks and already, cooking and shopping, and making their own food, they ask me why. And I say it's because of the stuff that you do with things that you would normally have thrown away, right? Vegetable peels would throw away, side of a parmesan, right? We have a lot of recipes that actually go for sustainability and being green. So I'm gonna put my heaped tablespoon of my own vegetable stock. I'm also controlling the sugar, and the salt, levels in my foods. Um, and press next. And now it's going to cook for 12 minutes. Now, this recipe actually is going to heat the water and cook the pasta. So there's absolute absorption of the pasta with this particular recipe, which is why that 400 grams of pasta had that. And being live, someone is calling me, but that's live. Um, that's live TV. So, does anyone have any questions at this point? We have 12 minutes.
How much? So you're making for two people there. So if I was to
Actually,
make,
I'm making this recipe for four because I want leftovers for lunch.
so what's the maximum you can make for how many people? I
So
mean,
a lot of the Thermomix recipes, can be 6 to 8,
okay.
depending on the recipe. It's a 2.2 liter bowl.
Mhm.
So for something like this, because you need the capacity, this recipe is 4. You could make it for 6 or 8 if you double it quite easily. But other recipes, depending on what it is, can cook for up to 12. Just depends on what it is.
Okay. And how many recipes do you get included, or is that a separate, is it a
Yeah,
separate?
I'm laughing and smiling. So you get 280 recipes with the Thermomix included, but you have access to over 100,000 recipes with Cookidoo. So Cookidoo is a platform,
Hmm.
similar to iTunes, sort of Spotify,
Hmm.
for music. Um, when you register with Cookidoo, you get 1 month free. So you could register today to have a look at the recipes. When you purchase a Thermomix, you then get 3 months free of Cookidoo included with that access to 100,000 recipes. Now, I get asked this question all the time. Um, After your 4 month free trial, it is a subscription of £50 a year, which works out at £4 a month, right? A lot of people are hesitant, and I say, don't worry, you don't have to make that decision until month 4. If you have been using Cookidoo on a daily basis and cooking from Australian platform and Italian food and Chinese and Thai and Singaporean and even American, I cook a lot of American food, especially during Halloween. Um, the £50 is justified. But if you decide not to, then you will always have those 280 recipes that are in your Thermomix as well.
Hmm.
And just so you know, 97% of people subscribe to Cookidoo in the UK.
Okay.
Once you've used a recipe, do you get to keep it without? So suppose I let my subscription lapse. Do I still get to keep the
No,
recipes
because
I've
it's
used?
actually it's the recipe is linked to your subscription, not your Thermomix. But if it was the part of the 280 recipes that you get with your Thermomix, it will always be there.
Okay.
Now, for example, this recipe, which is in the Australian platform, would not be available. But, well, a soup, a lemonade, 30 bread recipes would be. So what I can do is I can link the manifesto recipes in my follow-up email, which recipes are included in Cookidoo and will always be included in Cookidoo.
Does it also create, I read somewhere it creates a shopping list?
It does.
Does it do that? And
Yes. So what happens is we have an app and for example, if I look at my Cookidoo app on my phone, that's my app. This is a soup recipe. If I add it into my planner for today, it will tell me the ingredients that I need for that soup. It would create a shopping list. And then I can also order the ingredients online and send it to, at the moment, Amazon Fresh, Tesco's, and Sainsbury's. What's even better is I can do a price comparison to see whether Tesco's or Sainsbury's is cheaper. Now, personally, I shop at Ocado, and the integration with Ocado has gone for a couple of weeks, months. But it just means that instead of sharing it to the online shopping basket, I just copy the shopping list and then put it into the Ocado search bar. Now, when you start menu planning, you also start saving money because if I need 500 grams of chicken, I'm buying 500 grams of chicken. I'm not buying 600 or 800-gram packs and then it's going to waste. But you can also use Cookidoo the reverse way, where you can open your fridge and your cupboards and say, I've got feta cheese, I've got tomatoes, I've got onions, what can I make? And it will give you different recipes that they are what you can make as well. And that's actually very powerful. Before I started menu planning myself, we were very heavy on the same foods. If it was minced beef, it was bolognese. If it was salmon, I ate salmon a certain way, chicken a certain way. But the fact now that when you put those ingredients in Cookidoo, you might have 50 different suggestions. It means that you actually have that creativity of having different foods, different flavors, experiencing different cuisines. And I always remember a particular story, which is about 10 years old, but it was a good one. I came home from work one day and my kids were sitting at the table, sitting and not enjoying their food at all, pushing it from one place to another. I asked my nanny how long they had been at the table, and she said long enough and too long. And I'd asked what had been made for dinner, and she said shepherd's pie, right? So for, kids who are 8 and 5, shepherd's pie is a perfectly fine recipe. So I said to them, "What's wrong with shepherd's pie? Why aren't you eating it?" And they turned around and they said, "It's bland," which is true. Shepherd's pie is bland. And I said to them, "What would you have rather eaten then?" And because these are Thermomix children, I'm Indian, my husband is Polish. They said, "We like that Turkish pizza. We like kofta. We like kebab. We like that Turkish kind of minced thing you do that you put pomegranates and mint." They liked a Thai dish, right? And suddenly, what I realized is these children, when they mean shepherd's pie is bland, it actually is not that shepherd pie is bland because it still has salt and pepper in it. But they meant they wanted things with ginger, with garlic, with cumin, right? None of the dishes that they mentioned actually have, chili spice, but their flavor, their, palates need that flavor. And it's something that I live by now because I don't think we've made shepherd's pie or cottage pie in our house since then. But also, I know the flavorings of things. If something says, if I'm cooking a curry and it says 2 cloves of garlic, I've never put 2 cloves in garlic in my life. I'll put 3, 4, depending on the size of them. This one I did do because I don't want to overpower the other flavors of the sun-dried tomatoes and the peppers. But for certain things, I know a pinch of cumin isn't enough. A pinch of turmeric is not enough, and I will just add that flavoring there. So it's using Cookidoo as a framework, as you'd use a recipe book. Sometimes you look at a recipe book and think, "I don't really like that ingredient," or "I don't have that ingredient." You can skip it. If something says 100, it's not going to say 100 grams of oil, but if it says 50 grams of oil and or butter, a lot of people, they will swap the butter for olive oil or even for coconut oil to be more healthy, or they'll reduce the amount, right? You are still in control of the cooking of what you can do. And that's the wonderful part of Cookidoo and the Thermomix. For people who can cook and know how to cook, you're using it as a tool. For people who don't know how to cook, you are using it as, a framework completely. My darling, did you go for a walk? That's nice. So we have 34 seconds and the puppy has come back from her walk.
Can it go in the dishwasher?
Yes, it can. Everything that you see and I'm going to use, but even more importantly, it has a self-clean function. So once we finish cooking, you put a little bit of washing up liquid, water, and it has a fully self-clean function. So if I want to make dessert, I don't have to wash up. So press next. Open. And now we're going to add our dry pasta. Okay, press next. And it does say, now stir it a little bit. Press next. Oh, and then this is the wonderful part. I was going to put my lid on, but it says stir without the lid. Now, as this is pasta, it actually says set the time. So I'm going to set 10 minutes and that's it. in 10 minutes, my pasta is going to be ready. And I'm then going to add other things. Now, what would I normally do in this 10 minutes? I could do homework with my children. I could have a shower. I could answer some emails. I could make a phone call. I could fold the laundry, right? The reason why I love having a Thermomix is because it is so safe and things can be done in a safe environment without things overboiling, without things overcooking, and you're in control of that. But while things are cooking, I can be doing other things. Again, talk about the active and the total cooking times. This recipe was 10 minutes of active and 35 minutes of total cooking time. So that 10 minutes is maybe a little bit of prep. Again, me having to add something here and there, but for the rest of the cooking time, I don't really need to be here. And for me, as someone who works full time in the week, I want to be eating healthy food, but I don't want to be in the kitchen, slaving over a meal on a work night. A lot of people, who do want fresh food, they tend to batch cook in the on the weekends. But with the Thermomix, you don't necessarily need to batch cook because, again, things can be done relatively quickly. So open to questions again. Is there anyone in the chat, Fiona? I think.
I would like to ask
No.
about the plate.
Sorry, what was that?
Some recipes,
Mhm.
yes, obviously would show we have to use cover plate.
Yeah.
And this is mainly for protecting blades?
Where you need the blade cover peeler, is that what
That's
you're talking
right.
about? Yes, let me grab one for you and I'll tell you. So our company believes in, again, like I said, sustainability, right? Most things that you get with the Thermomix is what 95% of the population need, right? We don't believe in upselling things that you don't need. But there are a couple of accessories, and Angelica pointed out one of them because she's a recent owner. This is the blade cover peeler, right? And what this actually does, it fits on top of your blade, creating space. And these little indentations actually will peel a potato or beetroot or carrot, so hard veg. You can do 600 grams, 900 grams of veg with 600 grams of water, and it's peeled in 4 minutes, which is pretty quick when you're coming up to Christmas and a lot of potato baking. The other thing, so that's the peeler function. The other function is covering the blade. So if you're making a stew or a casserole, or even doing sous vide cooking, that cooks for a long time. And therefore the blades will turn and it will still be mixing your food, but because you've covered the blade, nothing will be cut. So imagine a stew, a curry, ratatouille, right? Things that you want big chunks, but you don't want them to be cut any more than what you've done them. That's when you'd use the blade cover peeler. So an accessory, and it's £32.
Reasonable. Something else. One more question. Obviously, when we're using knives in the kitchen, time to time we have to sharpen them.
Mhm.
How it works with Thermomix?
So the blade is a consumable, right? You shouldn't need to sharpen it, but depending on how much you use it, you might want to change the blade.
Mhm.
Now, if I take, for example, the blade is actually the same of the TM6, which was our previous model, and the TM7. The blade is exactly the same. I would call myself a heavy user, right? Because not only am I a household, but I also do demonstrations, I do training, and I think in 6 years with 3 or 4 bowls, I've only ever changed my blade once. So out of all of those, maybe one blade was changed. Again, I know the price, it's about a £50 charge for a blade, but a normal domestic user shouldn't really need to be changing the blades. There was an urban myth that said if you do a lot of cocktails, which is the grinding of the ice, or you're doing sorbets, which a lot of Thermomix customers do, that naturally sharpens the blade. I think it's just because I like frozen cocktails that I like that urban myth, but it is an urban myth.
Thank you.
So, you know how it is with iPhones. You
Mhm.
buy one, they bring out the new model, they start discontinuing bits on the old model,
Mhm.
all of that. So you did mention a TM6, I think.
Yep.
How often does this happen?
So as a company, so first of all, Susan, we all advisors are self-employed, right? So I don't work for the company. So I'm only privy to the information that they give me. And when a new model is released, there's always a 6 month, 8 month transition period where people can buy the new model or continue to buy the current model. The TM6 came out in September 2019, and the TM7 came out in February 2025. So that was 6 years of the lifetime. When we release a new model, we discontinue the previous model. So unlike iPhone, where you can buy the 17, 16, and 15, we don't sell anymore, but it is our manufacturing guarantee, because you're buying direct from the manufacturers, that we will service the previous model for 10 years after we have discontinued it. But another thing is, do you need the new model? Not really. Do people want it? Kind of, yeah. They don't necessarily, it works absolutely fine. It has 95% of the same functions, but like anything that comes out with newer technology, the newer technology is better. And I have some very, very happy TM6 customers who bought, in the last few months when it was available. I equally have a lot of TM6 customers who wanted to upgrade as soon as possible, but they upgrade the iPhone as well. Okay, right. So I have 50 seconds left for my pasta. So I can give it a little stir.
So if I was making curry and rice, could I use two different bowls? Do you see what I mean? I could make the curry, put that to one side, use another bowl to make the rice.
You could, but the fact is at the moment, the Thermomix is so brand new, we don't have a second bowl available for you to buy.
Mm.
So what you would do is you would make your curry, decant it into a thermoserver, and then you could give it a quick wash and then make your rice.
Okay.
Yeah. Or you could also sometimes you can do layered cooking. So if you had the space, you could also steam your rice above it. So I'm now just going to check my pasta to see if it's al dente. Because obviously you want to taste it. And I think for this particular recipe, I do need a couple of more minutes. So I'm going to go to the previous step, make it the current step, and cook 1, 2, 3 more minutes. So again, the nice thing is you can still check and cook with what you're doing. Now, I know that the next step after that is to add some baby spinach. So you can see that this recipe, I'm actually getting a lot of my vegetables because we've got peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, and some baby spinach. So 3 of my 5 a day in one dish, which is definitely quite nice. So that's what it is. It's after the 2 minutes, add some fresh baby spinach, and then serve straight away. So that was done in about 35 minutes.
Can I ask, when you do the curry mix, like the basic, the turka,
Yes.
can you do that all in there? Like sometimes what I do is chop everything up and I like saute it and then I blend it all to make the curry base, like
Yes.
for. So can that all be done in there? Like,
yes, it can.
okay. And then would you cook everything in there, like say if I was doing chicken curry, or would you transfer that base into another pot and pan and add your chicken in?
No, I mean, actually, if I grab something from my... Again, it's really interesting when it is my own home. You can see here, I've got a tikka paste. And I've made that. So I have the fresh paste that has been made in my fridge. And then I can marinate my chicken, then cook it in here, add everything else, and just cook. So as Thermomix advisors, we always have various different things.
Does it slice vegetables as well? Does it chop?
So there is an attachment if you want to slice, but it does chop.
Okay.
So if you're thinking about chopping onions versus slices on onions, it does chop onions and then saute it. I mean, again, as an Asian, I will do 1 kilo of ginger, 1 kilo of garlic, and I've got ginger garlic paste in my fridge. That took me no time to do.
Does it peel it as well?
It does actually peel it too. Yes.
Oh God.
Right. In fact, I use the blade cover peeler to peel it. So it means that I have all of those things very easy to do.
Wow.
So let me that was 3 extra minutes. And I'm going to just try it. Well, was it me up? Add my baby spinach, which luckily was washed. And stir. And then this is ready for my husband and I to eat. So dinner's ready. I will put a photo of this on my socials. So for any of you who do have my email address, it is at the bottom. Otherwise, it's One Girl in the Mix. After I finish dinner, I will send a link to this recipe. And if you have and payment options and various different things. And if you have any questions, please do come back to me. At the moment, we have a 3 to 5 day delivery. And like I said at the beginning of the call, we've got a lot of payment options, including the earn and demonstrate. So do not discount that at all. Thank you so much for your time.
Can I ask another question? Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, do you have a place in Greenwich that I can actually view one?
Yes, we do. We have an office in Greenwich. It's not a shop, it's a branch office. And I can coordinate to meet you there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be there tomorrow. Are
I
you?
won't know. I'm working tomorrow. I was thinking more Saturday or Sunday. Is there parking there available?
Let's talk offline, Saab,
Yeah.
because
Okay,
what
cool.
we can do is the only time it can be open is when someone is there to open it. So it's not run by people, but I
Okay.
can do
All
that.
right, no
And if
worries.
you're going to go to Greenwich, I'm just over the water, so you can come to me and see it in person.
Yeah, okay, cool. No
All
worries.
right
All right.
then.
Thank you. Thanks very
Take
much.
care.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Ankita.